Carmela Marner from Franklin. I'm reading something written by my mother, Carol Citrina, who has been a big organizer of this demonstration. Thank you all for being here. Today we are protesting that our entire rural region may be changed into an industrial zone with all the inherent pollution of earth, air, and water. Is gas worth it? The answer is to think locally. In a time in which huge agribusiness-style farming in the Midwest and West is threatened by drastic environmental changes due to global warming, New York State still has a temperate climate, water, good land, and a farming infrastructure in place. What New York State also has, especially in the land over the Marcellus Shale, is a burgeoning number of small farms and associated industries, wine, beer, cheese, based on low-energy, sustainable methods of growing crops, dairy, and meat. Once the dangers of hydraulic fracturing become our reality, all this would be destroyed. All this local livelihood. New York could once again be the breadbasket of the Northeast. And this would benefit whom? Ordinary people, of course. Who would not gain from a farming future in New York State? Big business would not gain. And let's talk about water. Water scarcity now is recognized to pose the greatest threat to peace, greater than oil in the near future. The only proven way to keep water safe and available for local needs is local control. In the Sahara, from space, you can see the thrilling result of the work of small subsistence farmers who have learned to green the desert gradually by judicious planting. In South America, indigenous people were willing to die to protect their water from outside corporate predators. And this movement led their countries out of centuries of dictatorship to true democracy. How can we be so foolish? Why do we continue to worship at the altar of multinational corporations who are willing to poison us for profit? All politics must be local, for all life is lived locally.
Thank you. John Ryan is the next speaker, followed by Joan Tuberty.
Hello, I'm John Ryan. I'm from Meredith. I'm with Kate Ryan, who is number 6, I think, on the talking list. And well, surprises never cease. I mean, it really isn't a surprise at all, is it? What happened across the street? We have a pusillanimous board of supervisors. Pusillanimous, I say, right. In spades. And they don't want to hear what people say indoors, and they seem to not want to hear what people say outdoors. They're so afraid of public opinion that they'll run away to avoid it. Well, it's not surprising, nor is it the first time, actually. Some of you probably remember the OTB affair some years ago. Yes, there's no rally or demonstration that can't be avoided or ignored. Those who were protested the Iraq War, for instance, know well about that. The board has made it perfectly clear that the only effective action must be political. Offering candidates in town elections who might be more concerned about and more sensitive to public opinion and concerns. That's the only step that will bring about any change. So it's time for those of us who are concerned about the welfare of Delaware County to go back to our towns, to start putting together a slate of candidates who will see the folly and the foolishness of our present board and offer a real alternative. Now, back in the 19th century, there was a robber baron who said, the public be damned. Well, that seems to be the attitude of our present Board of Supervisors. And that has to change. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Joan Tuberty, followed by Ken Jaffe.
Joan Tuberty from Town of Meredith, and I'm grateful to my supervisor for being here and Town of Delhi supervisor. Thank you. And Walton. Thank you. Will gas drilling be an economic boom or bust? On January 19th, New York State oil and gas industry lobbyist Brad Gill stated that because of gas drilling, Pennsylvania is thriving with tens of thousands of jobs and tremendous economic vitality. So, will gas drilling bring jobs and economic vitality? Not many jobs have been created after 2 years of intensive drilling in Pennsylvania, where crews are often brought in with the rigs. New York's and Pennsylvania's unemployment rates from 2005 to the present run neck and neck, and the current average weekly wage in New York is $868 compared with $805 for Pennsylvania. At their April 14th meeting, commissioners of Susquehanna County, Pennsylvania, a county of intense drilling activity, adopted a resolution designating the county a recovery area, denoting significant poverty, unemployment, home foreclosures, or general distress. Will gas drilling have an effect on other economic endeavors? Existing industries such as grapes, wine, agriculture, tourism, outdoor recreation, hunting, and fishing are threatened by industrial shale gas drilling. The estimated potential gain of $22 billion from gas drilling in New York State over the next 20 years pales in comparison with the projected gain of $300 billion from these other industries over the same period. A diverse economy will be ruined and replaced by a boom and bust industry. Could there be increased tax revenues to municipalities? While energy boom towns see revenues increase from gas drilling, it is rarely enough to meet the increased demands on infrastructure, maintenance, and administration. Deprived of local control over gas extraction, municipalities will face new costs without adequate funding for baseline water testing, emergency response, health department monitoring of complaints, tax assessment changes, and demands on school systems. Will the economic benefit to local communities exceed the infrastructure costs of building and repairing roads? The DEC's own figures project 715 to 2,615 truck trips per single gas well. Communities have seen a rise in road repair and infrastructure costs that far exceed the revenues generated by gas drilling. Without adequate bonding, taxes will increase. Will there be any effect on social services, emergency services, and law enforcement from gas drilling? Areas of gas drilling activity have experienced increases in crime and drug use, demands on emergency services from chemical spills, fires, accidents on the rigs and on the roads, demands on health care, emergency room services, and requests for housing assistance by non-industry residents. Will property values be affected by gas drilling? The HUD book states a property with gas or oil lease is not eligible for FHA financing, and no existing dwelling may be located closer than 300 feet from an active or planned drilling site. This will affect leased as well as adjacent unleased properties. Vision's Federal Credit Union, located throughout the southern tier and in Syracuse, will not give a mortgage loan secured by the property if there is an oil and gas lease on the property. Some insurance companies have either raised their premiums or will not insure properties with gas leases because they're considered business exposures with an increased risk of injury. Last question, won't landlords enjoy higher rents from gas rig workers? Yes, they will. And homelessness is on the rise in areas of gas drilling activity as fixed income residents and those not involved in the industry are squeezed out of affordable housing by industry workers who are able to pay higher than average rents. These economic considerations don't even attempt to address the enormous environmental and health concerns of water, air, and soil pollution from gas drilling. When these drill rigs roll into town, there'll be winners and losers, but even the winners will be losers.
Thank you. Ken Jaffe, followed by Laurie Spade.